students, we are learning cyclotron, most interesting part of the lesson, moving charges and magnetism, fourth chapter in the book. We will try and cover almost maximum possible aspects of this topic, working principle, construction, limitations, uses, almost all aspects. Keep your notes ready. My name is Mahesh Toraskar. You are watching my channel Maestro Academy. Let's get started. This one, what is cyclotron? A cyclotron is a device used to produce an accelerated charged particle. Simple, very simple definition. It's used to produce an accelerated charged particle which can be used for multiple uses. Who produced it? So Ernesto Lawrence. He invented it, and one Mr. Livingston. It was invented in 1929-30. This is the time it was invented. Now, what are the for what purpose it is used? It is used for various purposes. One is for to study particle physics, the behavior of the subatomic particles. It is also used in cancer treatment. It is also used in some of the semiconductors. So it has got a good use, right? So I will tell you how for physics. See, the atom size is comparatively, consider this as a nucleus. This is a nucleus of an atom. So we need a particle which can go and hit the nucleus so that nucleus can break and disintegrate so that we can study the behavior of those subatomic particles. Now when this particle comes at a normal speed, it cannot penetrate the atom. It cannot penetrate because there is electron cloud around it. It doesn't allow to penetrate that easily unless this is now energized. It catches energy. Once it is at high energy, then it can go straight and hit the nucleus, and this nucleus can disintegrate. It can disintegrate, and then we can make further study. This is the basic thing, right? See, it creates a power of the energy that you get is around 500 mega electron volt. This is the energy up to which you can get the particle going. Then for cancer, you need a particle to go and penetrate and hit the particular cell to break it. Tumors and all those things happen inside the body. So those need to be destroyed. Cancerous cells, malignant tissues need to be removed. So this is the work because it can easily penetrate. Same way, semiconductor also, it is penetrating to the device. Say this is semiconductor, these are the atoms. It can go and sit inside the semiconductor so that the variations of its conductivity can be controlled. See, semiconductor has got a particular level of conduction, so that can be precisely set when you have some certain ions going and sitting inside the material. So these are the basic uses of your cyclotron. Now let us consider its construction. Its construction is very simple. It's easy to understand. This is a chamber. This is an airtight chamber. It's an airtight chamber where magnetic field is allowed to pass through it. So let us understand. Let us say the North Pole is on your side and the South Pole is that side. So we would have a magnetic field going inside the ball, right? North to south. So it goes inside. Let us assume this is the magnetic field. Fine. The magnetic field is going from out to in, so the lines are inside. So it is indicated by crosses. Now, apart from this, there is a very important part called as, they are called as Ds, D-E-E-S. It's not come correct. So it's called as Ds. They are called as Ds. What are Ds? Ds are, I name them so that you can mark in your book. They are called as Ds. They are hollow, metallic, semicircular discs. They are hollow discs, like kind of. I'll show you. 3D. It looks like some kind of thing like this. If you This is what it looks like. They are hollow and they are metallic. Why hollow? Why hollow? Why hollow? I'll tell you why. They are this way. This is the opposite side. Okay. This is what it is. Now in this region, there is something here. See, between these two discs, there's something connected called as oscillator. Oscillator. This oscillator is a device that generates high voltage electricity which is oscillating. So ultimately it is nothing but a AC generator. It's an AC generator. But the specialty of this is it's high tension as well as high frequency. So it's the voltage between these two are fluctuating between plus and minus all the time at very high frequency. Ultimately, this frequency becomes the cyclotron frequency. I will come to that. Next, this frequency actually it could be a sine wave. It is practically a sine wave, but theoretically it is a step wave. We can consider this step wave. Same, sine wave can be converted into a step wave, but practically you can use a sine wave. Okay, this is sine wave that is used between these two sides. So at one instant this becomes plus, this becomes minus. Again at other instance this becomes minus, this becomes plus. That is going to be useful for us. In the center place, this is a center place, there is an ion source. This ion source is from where you are injecting the ions. What are these ions of? This could be of hydrogen, just one proton, nothing else. Electron removed, one proton remaining. It could be another thing called as deuterium, isotope of hydrogen, deuterium. It has got just one proton, one neutron, one electron removed. So it's a positive ion. Only thing, it has got an additional neutron along. No problem. Electrons cannot be used. Normally electrons cannot be used because they are of very negligible mass. So they serve to disrupt frequency, disrupt the sync of the cyclotron. So they are not used. We'll come to that. So these are what basically injected inside. These come out from here, very simple exit place. They come as a stream, the stream of particles. It comes in a stream. So this is basically the set. Now let us understand how it works. First of all, between this, there is a variation of voltages. There is a potential changes. We know something. We know that V is equal to EDL. This we know. Here if you keep this distance constant, the distance between these two constant, and increase the potential very high, what will happen? Electric field will also increase. You increase this high, you keep this constant, this will also increase. So we want that electric field to be very high. We want it to be very high. Why? Because you know this QE, right? QE. Why? Because when the electric field is high, the force acting on the electron is high. In fact, the force is actually accelerating the electron. Very important part of the word. Part of this, acceleration. Acceleration. The electron is accelerated. That is what aspect, that is the working principle of this particular device. So, what is the acceleration? See, A m into A is equal to QE. So A is equal to QE by m. This is the acceleration with which the electron is either pushed this way or pushed that way, depending on which is plus and which is minus. Let us consider this is minus and this is plus. If this is a positive ion, so it goes, because this is plus and minus, so it is coming from this side, it will get pushed in this direction, right? It will get pushed in this direction because now the electric field is this way. Electric field at this point is from plus to minus, and the force is always along the electric field. Electrostatic force is always along the electric field, so it gets pushed on one side. So the moment it touches over here, what this oscillator does? It does nothing. In the magnetic field, when it reaches in the region of magnetic field, now understand this, in this region, in this region, because it is zero, because the electric field is zero. Now you will say why it is zero. Electric field in this region is zero in the D's. Electric field is zero. Why? Because it's a solid metal. These D's are made of solid metal. And we know that for a solid metal, the charges remain only on the surface of the metal. For solid metal, for hollow metal, so did I say solid? Sorry, it's hollow. For hollow metal, the electric field remains, even for the solid metal, they remain on the surface. They remain on the surface. So here we get E equal to 0. In this region, we get E equal to 0. So here E is equal to 0. Here E is equal to 0. And here E is equal to max. But here B is almost equal to 0. Here B is max. Here B is max. So we have two regions. That's A, B, C, D is the region in which electric field is the maximum, no magnetic field. Comparatively no magnetic field. And in this region, magnetic field is maximum and there is no electric field. Hollow. They are hollow metals. So we have two regions where the particle is behaving differently. Okay. So how does it behave? In this place, in the region where there is electric field maximum, this fellow will come rushing to the left because it is being accelerated. Here's the acceleration. It all depends on the electric field. More the electric field, stronger it is, higher is the acceleration. This is where electron fails. Electron fails in this because electron is a very small mass. So acceleration becomes very high for electron. So you can't use an electron. It becomes overspeeding. You can't have a Ferrari to go. You can't have a Ferrari to go and walk in the Mumbai streets. Can we have a high speed Ferrari? I'm talking about the racing cars. Okay, so that's what it is. It's too fast, so it cannot handle that. Coming to the next part, that is magnetic field. When it reaches over here, let's see what happens. When it reaches over here, the influence of the magnetic field, now you have like this. You have, assume this is a magnetic field. Okay, and you are going perpendicular to it. Are you not going perpendicular? See, I'll show you how. Let's take something interesting here. So see, the electric field is going inside. The magnetic field is going inside, and the velocity is this way. Velocity is the particle this way. What will happen? If you consider your right hand rule, you see like this. I'm showing your magnetic field is going inside the board, and the velocity particle is towards me. If you use your right hand rule to find the direction of the force due to magnetic field on the charge, you have to start from B and go towards B. V, curl your fingers from B, go towards B. So you're curling your fingers like this and going towards B, and you see the pointing, you're pointing downwards, and the downward point of the thumb gives you the direction of, now I curve, it gives you the direction of in which the charge is going inside. Here, in this place, it is taking a curved path because at every instant, we have seen at every instant the force is acting on it in such a way it is acting towards the center of the circle. This is the force in which the magnetic force acts on it. So it doesn't allow it to go straight. It doesn't allow it to go straight. The particle takes a curved path over a very small radius. And in this region, between this region, let us say it's A, B, C, D, E, F, E and F. In the semicircle EF, here V is equal to 0. V is equal to constant. So A is equal to 0. Here the velocity is constant. What's the formula? V is equal to F is equal to Q V cross B. This is the formula. So here the velocity remains constant from here to here. No velocity, no increase in acceleration, fixed velocity, no work done, nothing. It just goes and comes out from this point. Now here we know acceleration is 0. The moment it comes over here, this one switches to a different, this becomes plus and this becomes minus. Now our positive charge will go always to minus. minus side, which I said minus now. So it will go to the minus side. Because the oscillation frequency has changed now, it goes to the minus. It goes with a higher acceleration. Here, this was A, here no, A, this was A1. Say, A2 is greater than A1. I guess you can see it's too much clumsy there, no? I hope you understood this. The acceleration from F to G is higher than the acceleration from earlier, the first acceleration. Why? Because here we have this force, this one, coming with the same acceleration, but after this, it is still accelerated. Here there is no acceleration. See, you are going from A to B. See, you are going from A to B with particular acceleration even. B to C are going with with acceleration equal to 0. That means at C you have acceleration A1. Now from C to D you are going with acceleration A2. So here you already have an acceleration A1 because the same acceleration you brought over here, you have not increased it because your velocity is 0. So the same acceleration A1 has come over here. Here it is again accelerated as per this, and it goes at G with higher acceleration compared to before. This here, because it goes with a higher acceleration, it will not take the same radius, it will not go in the same radius, it will go with a bigger radius. Why? Something else. See, R is equal to mv upon qb. You remember this? This is the radius of the helix in which the charged particle moves. I mean, radius, we can consider it as a radius of the circle. Okay. So here helix will not be formed because there is no magnetic field. It's not a combined field. These are not combined field. Understand, it is not a combined magnetic and electric field. They are two separate fields at two different locations. Here only magnetic field, here only magnetic field, in between only electric field. So it's not a combination of the two fields. So it cannot be a helical path, right? It is taking a circular path only, and that gives you some radius. So that radius, yeah. So this radius depends on the velocity. If your velocity is high, your radius is high. If your velocity is low, the radius is low. So here velocity is v2, or velocity v1 was here. Now it's become v2. At this it is v2. So obviously this radius is bigger than the previous radius. Got my point? So now it takes a bigger radius. Again it reaches over here. Here what happens? What does this oscillator do? It will again change back to this minus and this plus. Its timing must be set. The frequency of this must be set as to exactly match the frequency of motion of this, okay, within the D's. Here it comes out. When it becomes negative here, again because of high change in potential, there's a high difference in the potential. Because of that, this comes running with higher acceleration. Now it's A3. Now A3 is bigger than A2. A3 is bigger than A2 is bigger than A1. A3 is higher. So automatically it will form a bigger circle. Why? It is going faster. So obviously it cannot stop so slowly. So it goes very fast and goes here. Again here the acceleration in this range is 0. In these ranges acceleration is always 0. There is no change in velocity. Acceleration remains 0. Here it comes with the same A3, but it gets accelerated because of the change in the potential and goes with another acceleration. So takes a bigger radius, goes that side, again gets accelerated, takes a bigger radius, goes that side, again gets accelerated, takes a bigger radius, goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. Such a way that my D is so small now that it comes like this out. It comes out of this axis. Now this time acceleration is so high that it becomes highly energized. What energy it is having? Potential energy? No, it is having kinetic energy. Velocity gives its kinetic energy, half mv square. What is this velocity? This velocity is the velocity of this radius. This radius, say this radius, the topmost, the final radius of this, say it is r. So we have r is equal to mv final upon qb. We want a final velocity, no? So this becomes r qb upon m is equal to vf. So replace it over here. So kinetic energy is equal to half m into r q b upon m square. So that gives us kinetic energy is I'll write it r square q square b square upon m. So this is the kinetic energy that we achieve at the end of its exit. R square q square b square upon mm cancels, no, upon, sorry, 2m, 2 here. So r square q square b square upon 2m is the kinetic energy we are getting. Now understand this. This kinetic energy depends on the radius, the maximum radius. It depends on the charge, the magnetic field and the mass. So if you have a less smaller mass, the kinetic energy will be very big. If you have a larger mass, the kinetic energy will be very small. If you have a sizable mass, the kinetic energy is strong enough to support the system. So we want a kinetic energy to be such an energy that this sink must not be out of sync. Thus, the frequency of this cyclotron, see, I'll tell you the frequency is given by, we know the frequency. We know T is equal to 2 pi m by qb. So, frequency is equal to qb by 2 pi m. This is the time period. The time period of taking one full round. So, within the d, within 1d, the time is half. It's nothing but when it's within the d, within 1d, the time is how much? T by 2 is equal to pi m upon qb. Yes? Within the d. From here, we have understood. Now let's come back to, I think we should cancel this part. Okay, so we have got all the details of this. We have got a time period. Inside d is this one. Inside one of the d's. The whole time period is this. The time. Now tell me, is the time period depending on the radius? No, it doesn't. Frequency, does it depend on the radius? So it is independent of the radius. One aspect of it, whatever may be the radius, it doesn't depend. So we can give a smaller radius, no problem. Time period we are getting the same. Frequency we are getting the same. It doesn't depend on that. It only depends on the velocity, right? And finally coming to its working principle. Its working principle is this. Principle one is that when a charge is placed in an electric field, the force acts on the charge and pushes the charge. That's how it gets accelerated. So it gets accelerated when it is kept in a electric field. The second thing is that when it is kept in the magnetic field, it turns into a circular path. It goes in a circular path when it is kept in the magnetic field. So these are the two basic working principles of the cyclotron. Now the advantages of this. The basic advantage is you get a continuous stream. You get a continuous stream of the energy beam. The energized beam comes as it actually anodizes the surroundings. It comes as a blue light. So it's a continuous stream. And the second advantage is it is compact. Compact as compared to the earlier version of it. Earlier they were using something called as Linux, which is coming as a linear stream. That's okay, but this is compact as compared to the earlier version. So these are the basic advantages. There are around 30,000 cyclotrons installed in the whole of the world, and is used for many purposes, but they're heavy duty ones, they're very big. Okay, the later versions have reduced inside, but you can't have such a very compact one. The earlier one was having a radius of around 1.5, around 2 meters width. Okay. The surrounding was made of high magnetic field, very high magnetic field, because it required that much of strength of the magnetic field to take it into the circular path. So these are all the aspects of the cyclotron. Hope you have understood it. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye bye.